Hello, I am Davina, and hello to all of you bold, beautiful, brilliant, and highly evolved souls. Today, I'm going to talk about why it's so hard to trust ourselves and to build that trust up again. Obviously, one of the main things that a narcissist does is they um, s- gradually and daily will destroy the trust that you have in yourself, and they they want just obviously to control you. And when they take that away from you, your own connection with yourself and your own trust through a lot of gaslighting and all that other stuff, then you become easy to control. And so losing trust in ourselves, a big part of this journey of recovery is, of course, finding ourselves, recovering our true selves, and what it feels like to trust in our everything, our feelings, our decisions, our likes, our dislikes, what we want, what we don't want. We're just discovering everything again. So I'm going to talk about three things that really significantly impact our ability to trust ourselves. And the number one thing is the damage that has been done to our brains. And they've just been, our bodies and brains have been flooded with so much, the stress hormones and everything that, of course, we're going to be on hyper alert. We're going to be hyper vigilant. And and so this obviously causes us to be in, in alert, like in a high, alert, looking out for danger all the time. And so when you're looking out for danger all the time, or whenever you're in this hyper arousal state, then you start to get confused. You can see something dangerous that actually is safe, or you could also be vice versa. You could feel something is safe, but it's actually dangerous. So the signals all get mixed up because you might be seeing everything as dangerous, but then you might miss something that is actually dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And so it can really cause a lot of confusion. And this happens a lot in relationships when we don't know, is this person safe? I don't know. They're doing this and I'm feeling triggered and I don't know if I'm overreacting or if this is um it's so hard to decipher what's true, what's real, what's trauma, what is going on in reality. And it so if you're in confusion, I just want to let you know that it is normal, as painful as it is, to go through that kind of muddled feeling of not knowing. And it can take a lot of energy too, a lot of just thinking, like, um, and hypoarousal can also cause the same kind of problem because the hypoarousal is otherwise known as the shutdown, the collapse, the flop mode. And so when we're in this state, um, our it's kind of the opposite. Our sense of protection, protecting ourselves, setting boundaries is then like sort of shut off. And so now instead of being cautious about everything, we're like in this like little ball, and we're just like ready for the tiger to like chomp into us. And so we've just kind of given up and we've numbed ourselves out because we can't, it's like, yeah, like I guess I'm just going to be eaten. Um, and so this also makes it difficult to trust ourselves because if we're going out into the world in that kind of hypoarousal, we don't, our automatic state is to just be that in that highly submissive state, and where we just take things and we don't like say no, or we don't speak up. Um, and so this can be also like, erode our own self-trust when we're like, oh, why didn't I set that boundary? Like, and of course, there's many reasons why we don't set boundaries, but that is one of them. Number two is what's called FOG. You might have heard of this before. The acronym FOG is for fear, obligation, and guilt. And when you have a narcissistic parent, yeah, obviously fear is a big thing that they use to control you. So through their intimidation and their threats and their fear mongering and their shaming, we are then conditioned to react in fear, and we do things to avoid a possible punishment, a possible unpleasant outcome, to avoid being rejected. So we do a lot of things to avoid something kind of worse, you know? So it can be very confusing again to like now as we're coming out of it, go, am I acting just from fear? Because a lot of times I think, oh my God, I think I'm just acting from fear. I'm trying to just avoid something else bad rather than, responding from whatever that true centered place is. So this is normal. The obligation, instead of a relationship with our parents force us into complying, into conformity, and our relationship, so-called relationship, what isn't a relationship, is just an obligation. We feel obligated to act a certain way. You should be like this. Um, and so become a pile of just shoulds and a lot of shame in terms of, our parents shame us and again, it's manipulating everything so that we are this kind of in this box that they can handle, that they can control and manage. And yeah, so this can also lead to later feeling just like all relationships are sort of obligation, especially our family. We think, well, I should go visit them, and I should phone this person or I should do this rather than I want to be with this person right now. I'd like to spend time with this friend. And so that can also get very confusing to realize that we don't owe anybody anything. We are a free agent, and you have the right to choose who to be with, and you know, to be in your authentic self, and the other person's in their authentic self, and that is a healthy relationship. And the third one of that trio is the guilt. And of course, I'm sure you're all familiar, like, I don't have to repeat it again, but the gaslighting, the guilt tripping, the blame shifting, all of this is piled onto us so that we believe that we're doing something wrong. So anytime the parent is struggling or their shame is coming up, they're going to blame the child, like, hurry up, you're not ready to go to class yet, when it's actually their fault because they didn't get you up earlier. Or there's so many of these situations that can happen, or you're having a lot of big feelings as a child and your parent can't handle it, so they're telling you, to calm down and that's enough. And again, they're just switching that. They're just making you feel like you're wrong, you're bad, so that they don't have to face their own guilt and shame about not knowing how to handle your emotions. And so yeah, so then of course we end up with all of that guilt. And then of course we're doing things out of guilt. And because yeah, we sort of lost that trust and that connection with our deeper self, with our feelings, with our intuition. That's another big one, is intuition. And so again, it can become very foggy as to, what am I doing this because I want to do this, or am I doing this out of the guilt, out of the obligation? Or am I doing this just because I'm scared? So there can be just a ton of confusion. And the third one I'm going to talk about is the fawn response. And that, of course, since we've been conditioned into the people pleasing for so long, year after year, it can be difficult to discern when we are doing something from a just out of fear and the shame and the people pleasing, that fawn response, or when we're doing something because, again, we genuinely want to do that. We genuinely want to help that person, or we want to be kind. And I realize lately, how much my parents have robbed me of that, because sometimes I do something kind to someone and then I think, is that just people pleasing, or am I actually wanting to be kind? Is it kind, or is it just a trauma response? So I feel it's painful to feel that, to sense that I'm not even sure if this is genuinely me, if this is authentic. And so all of this, yeah, just leads to a lot of muddled thinking. I know that the clarity does come, and we just have to just continue to validate ourselves, um, to like really hold on to um, those little threads of like truth and trust that we sense, that is something is when something's bothering us, or when something feels unsafe, or just feeling that just that continuing of, yeah, validating ourself is a huge thing to get our self-trust back. And then just making choices, and sometimes, we're gonna mess up and we're gonna make mistakes. And well, mistakes, I don't even think there are really any mistakes in this world. But and we just, choice after choice, and we start to build that trust, and like, oh, I have made some really good choices that are based in just, caring for myself, and loving myself. And it takes time, like everything else in this really painstaking journey. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And as always, wishing you so many blessings of healing on your journey of awakening. And I am Davina, Appleness Blooming, and you can check out um, my Facebook page. Please share this video if you like it on your own social media, and like and comment if you feel so moved to do so. Thanks again.